Well, it looks like the operation centers have grown through cycles. It's amazing how we come to formation line center communication. Glitching interference is truly understand you through the conceptual line center of your heart and its reactor. It activates core line center positions. I set up very powerful TikToks of questions for everybody to be answered. Today, we're going to get more into basically back to the beginning, how things start off with all reviews and evaluations of a test. It evaluates you in all level system to its rotation, coming into your intelligence of knowledge of understanding who we are and how we remember these things. When you start remembering, it's known information, and that's why it's so powerful. Okay, you're trying to find your adaptations and your cycles, and you're trying to find where am I in space time. It's amazing how you come into that position. It's all about mastering you. Okay, practice is the best teacher. Practice makes perfect and always informs. Okay, not to everybody else, but to you and how you feel inside. That's the most important thing you have to look at. Now, I notice that people have been highlining channels to higher realm position locations. Be cautious on that. Okay, like I said before, you guys are higher lights, and if you resonate in other channels, you can have your program taken over. Very easy, because I know the conceptual line and your TV reception. If it doesn't interfere with channel line conditions, I have to change your positions, and it's all connected to your time frames. Okay, so if you're not aware of these things, don't resonate with those channels. If you're not sure, make sure you have your E fields up at all times, at all cost. I'll say that again, at all times, at all cost. Okay, the Earthline Center is in a ground lock system to its locations. The clocking system is speeding faster and faster each day. Okay, second per second per second. Communications is humanity to its clocking system. It's allocated to its time. So space and time has its conditions. You look at your clock, you're saying, whoa, 60 seconds, a minute has already gone past. What have you learned in a minute? How many times do I look at my watch to see if I've gone forward in time? So it's trying to understand how to use all levels of your phone, your conception and your line signals to all levels of your graph system to your computers or anything through your phone reception. How to use your digital pads, how to use your own computer line system. We gave you this through activation to truly understand how to use electronics inside your position locations. The circuitry valves and line center connections. I know it's a complicated situation here, but for the new viewers that are coming on, because I know it's high forcing right now and it's growing like crazy, which is amazing. It's fantastic to see this, especially when we get new different energy cycles of intelligence coming in, right? Especially from the very beginning. So we're going to start off with a basic idea, the ABCs and 1, 2s, and 3s. We get into the principles of meditation. Okay, this is going to help out the new viewers. It's important that you understand your information when you start off. It's like, okay, I'm activated now. What do I do? Right? So you're all confused, right? There's so many emails that are given to me on a daily basis. You have to understand that you have to get into your position, not your own life, your own path, your own mission, your own journey. You find that path. I don't find it for you. You find it for yourself. And these things get tricky because now the illusions are coming out in the track system. Okay, and a lot of people are asking more questions and more questions and more questions. You only get the questions answered from you inside of spiritual growth. And that's what this is about you understanding what space and time is to you through its calculation, modification, or anything through its line signals. Okay, so if you have any questions, you go through my team, Rebellion Alliance, or the GFLs. They can help you in always informs. Okay, they're extremely high line center. It's all about coming together, one unity of consciousness, coming into one alignment to one flow. And that's what it is. Everything is on one flow. Okay, like if you spin a quarter, right, it's eventually going to stop, right? But life does not stop on any way and form. So that quarter will only change for so long. It only spin for so long, and then it drops, right? So it's trying to understand how to keep that going, how to keep that going, how to keep that going. It's rotation spins of you through circulation lines, center rotations. Okay, so it's amazing how it comes in that position. To understand your alphabetical system is the most important thing. A, B, C's, 1, 2s, and 3s. How to spell, how to write, right? How to understand you through calculations, how to understand your communications when you sleep. A lot of people don't want to go to sleep. Some people can't sleep. A lot of people sleep with the lights off. A lot of people sleep with the lights on because they don't understand what they're doing with their communications. And this all has to do with you, with your intelligence. That's the hardest thing to understand because you keep asking questions about yourself. And the only way to do that is to meditate and open the mind. Okay. So, any questions or comments, you can go through my healing. Okay. You go through all levels that to my email. Okay. Also, I'll be going live on TikTok. Right. It's about understanding how we get into better communications to ourselves. It's all about understanding the heart has to find the path of you, it has to find the truth of you. And that's what we're getting into right now. Okay, the clocking system of the ground line center is in position. Your anti-gravity line center rotation. Anti-gravity line center is a rotation spin. Okay, so it's kind of like the actual spin line system to its ground line system is going into high levels of spectrum light. Okay, so it's surfacing. So think of a torical field of nature spinning on high line centers in clocking system. That's how fast the Earth is spinning. You can't see it. Why can't you see it? Because you concentrate on too many other things. Focus on the mind. The conception of mind of mastering is self what? Discipline. You have to have discipline in yourself. So you have to get into the clocking system of you have to understand what space and time is to you. Because space and time is different to me than it is to you. Okay? That's what makes us genius through knowledge and intelligence. It's known information to its connection where it comes into AI of its phenomenon. Okay. But you have to stop thinking about these things every single time you get up in the morning. Concentrate on you, just you alone. Right. Try to understand what you're doing with your thoughts. A lot of people are very confused and they go right on the TV. Oh, wow, that's cool. Look at that. That's awesome. That's your reality. People give you things, questions. You listen to this, that's your reality. That's the reality you're living, and that's all you know, right? So, like I said, it's a lot of empty space if that's what you think, right? So you have to truly understand your perception is everything through that connections. How to understand how to listen. Listening is number one. Communication is number one. And then you come into your activations of your chakras. So your chakras are built for you through transponding, okay, receiving and transmitting messages. So this is very basic for everybody to understand these things when you come into that calculation modification. So let's get into your questions first before we go into the basics. Okay, Tina, how's it going? Amber, how's it going? Alan, Diane. All right. Okay, did anybody sleep well? I slept really well. All right. You changed. I've been working in sort of space. Yep. Communications. You guys are connecting to each other. All right. Alan, Tina. Spinning on top of the ocean, containment servers. Everything comes more real to its line conditions when you go to higher level positions. You come into higher line centers of your intelligence. Try to understand this, try to understand this, try to understand planets, try to understand why you're there, try to understand the containment line system, try to understand what am I doing here. It's coming into love cycles of you through track system. All right. Opening the vortex for a new plasma coming in. Yep, exactly. Space kitchen, creating, co-creating. That's what you want through calculations. All right. Mary, how's it going? Ellen, Mary. All right. Let's see here. You guys getting questions very fast in the system here. All right. All right. A few years ago, saw portal, edge, and UFO. All right, a lot of questions here. That's great to see you guys getting that connections. It's all about getting into and out of the insanity to all levels of you through calculations. Knowing that you're not crazy. You're not crazy at all, especially when you start remembering. That's a basic principle here is you start to remembering who you are. Okay, to all levels. Okay, so uncloak from behind, low cloud directly after thunder shower. Yep. That's cool. Tina. Okay, can't wait to see this. Maureen, thank you. Tina, Jill, how's it going? Mary, Amber, Lexus, how you doing? It's great to see new people. Samantha, I answered your question. All levels of Satori and your Syrian. So you're in a Sirian track line system of Sirian A, planet line center locations. Okay. Try to send connections to your track system. All right, Cleopatra. All right. Let's see here. Sarah, how's it going? All right. So you're going to like class today. Gabe, how's it going? Yeah, it is related to the human design, but it's the makeup design of you through calculations. So you come into the organic system. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, how it starts with the human design of you through track system to really understand that you're connected to light and all levels. Okay, because you're not living the human experience, you're living the spiritual experience. That's the changing position to its reversing cycle. And humanity is really messed up because of that way, right? Because they don't evolve with the spiritual, they evolve with the human aspect. And that's not a program that you want to go in position, because that defeats the purpose to all levels of calculation. You have to understand why you're in position, okay, of the spiritual system of a human experience. Okay. All right, let's see here. So, hope everybody's doing well. Any questions, let me know. It's important you guys get your questions answered. So, we went into a lot yesterday, but today it's going to be very basic. All right, truly understand rotations is you through calculations now. The basic concept is understand your alphabetical system. Okay? That's a true understanding, you learn how to write, you learn how to spell, you learn how to talk, you learn how to crawl, you learn how to walk. That's a basic. As soon as you're born, you start to crawl, and then you walk, and then you talk. Those are three principles that you learn when you're in the physical system. So that is experiencing you, but that's not who you are. See, you have to understand dimensions of time, of space. It's amazing how we come into the ancestries to all connection. So you come into the alphabetical system. Okay. What do you think the alphabetical system is? Okay. It's alpha / communication. Okay. The track system to its connection is high levels. All right. So you come into the alphabetical system, A, B, C, D, E, F. All right. I'm not going to get too complicated, but you truly understand. You guys know how to write, spell, speak, right? That's the first thing we learn, right? And then we grow. Well, you already know your physical system. Now's the time for you to understand the spiritual system, the circles and rotations of you through the heart system. The hardest thing to follow is the truth. And once you go into the truth, you start remembering, okay? Because you remember everything through the physical system, but nobody understands the spiritual system. That's the program they only understand is you, but that isn't you. It's all track system, okay? Your position is the spiritual system of understanding why you're in this position on Earth. Okay, the Earth line that you're on, everybody's in that position. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of talking. There's going to be quite a few instructions to that connection line system. So you have 7 rotations. Okay, these are the body track system location. Okay, now coming in positions. Okay. It's all about understanding how to use all track systems of 3, 6, and 9. Okay? Now, once you have that through communications, you come into 7 of the body. Okay? And then you have coming into high levels of 5. These are the 5 atmospheres of you, of your conscious levels, to understand how to use your calculations to your 7 bodies of water. Okay? 7 bodies of dimensions. Okay, 7 body dimensions of positions of activation. So, and then you come into 5 track system, 5 atmosphere line centers to 5 conscious level system. You have to understand you're all connected to your systems, a spiritual system. It's just you don't remember. That's the problem. So it's to understand when you get into your breathing, okay, once you're activated, you start to learn more about yourself and your physical system. Whoa, okay, I'm in my physical system today. Now, what do I need to know about my spiritual system? How do I connect to my intelligence? So when I started out, I was trying to figure out, okay, now let me think. Am I speaking to myself? Am I hearing other voices? Why are my ears ringing? Why do I have a headache? What is going on with me? And that's what it is. What is going on with you? So it's the process of you understanding how to get in your positions to your spiritual system, guys. Your spiritual vessels, your spiritual activation, your spiritual light. Okay. And everything comes into position of remembering who you are. Okay. You already know the physical, you just have to understand the spiritual. But the track system is confused through its alignment, which means that all levels of you in its track system is not in its position to its spiritual system. Okay. You just know those connections to the human vessel. Decides grass line center rotations. It comes in its ground line center to its rotation. All right. So it's all position of you. Think of you as a track light to locations. All right. So think of you as a high rise of an orb line center coming into high position locations to a torical field. Now you have to use your 7 communications. All right. Try to understand the reference. Try to understand the research of your 7 chakras. Okay, get into your breathings. Breathing is number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 5, 6, 7. There's your 7 tracks. Okay, now you have to understand how to use it before you get into your 3, 6, and 9s. Okay, your 3, 6, 9s will be given to you once you understand each rotation cycles to each dimension of chakras. Okay, all right. The chakra system is used through communication, how to understand space/time. Okay. Now, this is basic principle acts. So it's all about understanding you through your connections of your empath, your emotion track, communication tracks, okay, your lights and your divisions and your time of space. So when you get up in the morning, who are you connecting to? Are you in the physical program or are you in the spiritual of yourself? Okay. Because you have to understand the vibrations are higher, okay, of you. And you're not aware of these things because you still think of you in the physical system. Okay. So the spiritual of time is now. The clocking system of spiritual system is now. Okay. Tick tock, tick tock. Okay. Very powerful how we come into that position on TikTok and why General's on TikTok, right? Because everything's on a countdown now. And everybody's starting to understand more of remembering. When you remember more, then you understand how to meditate, right? And you say to your spiritual system, okay, for people that don't understand this, oh, my spiritual system is in alignment now. I understand the speed rotators. I understand the spine line connections. Whoa, this is fantastic. I'm in a rotation cycle. So you're connecting to intelligence. Physical system doesn't understand anything through the spiritual system line connections to its physical alignment if it doesn't understand anything through integration. Okay, so it's all about getting balance with you first to the male and the female aspects of you to its dimensions, okay, to its travels in space time. All right, so you start off with the 7. Okay, you get to know each chakra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have to know all ground, body, waters of position, how to use your air, how to use your fire, okay, how to use your water and your grounds of you. You have to have grounds of thought, not grounds of earth, grounds of thought first. So the mind has to be in the center of operation all the time. So when you're traveling, you're in where? The center of everything. Okay. So once you understand each chakra system is a representation of you through your empath, through your connections of its Schumann resonance. Now everybody's aware of that, right? That's connections, okay, to your graph. Okay. It's very powerful when you understand more of you through calculation. Calculation is about understanding what is with me. I'm calculating, I'm modifying, I'm dividing, I'm subtracting, I'm adding. That's all that is. It's calculation. It's calculation of you to and from, how to get from here to there. So that's a Trinity stand, how you come into positions to a ruler, millimeters, centimeters. Okay. So this is the true understanding the graph line center, which is you through vibration. This is your empath. All right. So you come into your empath of yourself, of emotion. There's your empath, right? So try not to get too confused, but you have your vibrations like this. This is how you communicate every single day. Sometimes they're high, sometimes they're low, sometimes they're medium. Okay? It's all about understanding your human resonance and how it resides. You've seen it on TikTok. You see the white, how it goes. Well, it's truly understanding you through connections. The most important thing is that each chakra system has a certain vibration. You have to understand the color. Now, you guys already know that because you went on Google. If you look, like, what is the balance security? It's red. What is Mother Earth? Brown. Okay. So your color is different from my color because we're different DNA. All right. So you come into high levels of energy equals box, okay, slash communications, okay, slash Mother Earth. Okay. Now it's Trinity standing this, the structure locations, Rebellion Alliance and everything through the GFLs understand these things. Okay. They're coming to the high level rotation. But for the new viewers, it's truly understanding U through E equals MC squared. I created that for you guys so you can understand your empaths of yourself. You have to understand your emotional track, your psychological system of you, the psychosis of you, right? You have to understand all these things. Okay. Now everybody's coming into the hypothesis, which is all levels of a question. That's what humanity knows, but they don't know anything else. They don't realize they're the most powerful positions on the high level of space-time track system. Track is everything through balance. Communication is everything through its track of balance. So truly understand how to use your empath and your emotions, okay, to sensors. Sensor is through you, through perception. Okay, so I'm trying to show you how you can use this, all levels of your empath to its location. All right, this is the structure, and this is the formula. Okay, so it's a very basic principle is to understand Mother Earth of you. And then you come into the high levels of the female aspects of you, right? That's the position where the male has to get into the femininity and the female has to get into the male. That's the balance of yin and yang. Very easy, very basic. But once you get into your 7 chakras of information, this will help you through your energy fields. Now, energy field is a tube. It's a tube line center. It comes down through its connections. All right. It protects you through all levels of you through activation. Okay. It's a tube. So it size graphs its connections on both sides, like this, your track system. Okay. So it's all about you understanding how to protect yourself in all ways through your chakra systems because you're transponding and you're receiving information. Transpond and receiving. Okay. Very basic, understood. All right. So let's get into your questions and then we'll continue on. All right. Let's get in your questions now. All right. It's great to see everybody. Whoa. Class is growing. Deborah, how's it going? Yep. So I'll be doing this twice a week because now my class is in a high rotation right now and people are waking up more. So you're waking up more and more. I'm already in that position of waking up to that line system. But I go through higher levels of expansion of space because it's provided for you. Once you wake up, you come into your mind of imagination. So I'm creating more space for you guys so you can understand your transponders. Transponder, transportation, transformation, sponder, okay, which is high levels of receiving, okay? So that's the calculations that you guys have to come into first is the chakra system. How to communicate to your body, to its empath, all right? So, all right, now's the time to ask questions. Dekar. So yeah, everything is related to the human design. It's the makeup of you through connections. It's truly understand to get into the spiritual of its division, Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. Okay. I have a big question. Right. There is a question. What's the question? It's connected to the different dimensions. Yes, Sarah. Each chakra is representation of you through your emotion track system, which is connected to Mother Earth. Okay. Now there's a little bit of stability here. It's going to come back in line. See, you have to understand the position right now because this is extremely low for me. It's a very low vibration. So it's trying to understand my computer line center because my computer is 5,000 years in the future. If I go to low vibration, I have to balance everything plus you through connections. And this is extremely powerful through high levels of energy. Okay. It's all about you understanding energy, understanding you through transmitting and receiving information. And it's all position of you, right? And this is how you start remembering, okay, through the chakra activations. They're energy cells, they're pocket cells, okay? They're dimensions of times of portals through your clocking system. They're all position of you through shapes, okay? They're all different intelligence to planets. So that's the true understanding why we created the chakra system for everybody. So you can communicate to space. Makes sense, right? So, all right, let's see here. Grand Rising. Wheelan, how's it going? Janet, how's it going? It's great to see everybody. Mantras or anything that connection only affects you in a high position line sound rotation to its intelligence. Wheelan. Okay, so get into your crystal activations, get into high levels of your stones, your crystals, or anything in that line. You have to truly know how to use your own prayers, how to use your own activation, how to protect yourself. That's the number one you guys have to understand is to protect your light, especially if you communicate to other channels. Okay, because you're looking at other intelligence of time, of space. Everybody has that inside, and not everybody's at the same level, which is a huge experience for everybody to understand these things, right? So if you can't master yourself inside, how are you going to recognize anybody else? Pretty simple, right? And the first thing you have to understand is everything through energy. It's all communication, okay? It's content, okay? It's full of data. And you have to understand what the data is given to you every single day, okay? So, yeah, put firewalls to protect the computer data. Very good, Smith. Yeah. How do we connect to our chakra? Deborah, well, once you're activated, you're in position. It's already in line signal. Okay. So you're already connected. See, the thing is, if you're not awake, you're open. It's all about having storage already for you. Okay. So when the storage is ready for you and your chakras are activated through the crystal of its ground system, then it activates the heart, which is its portal. Okay. So, and that's a true understanding how you come into your 3, 6, and 9 of your third eye. Okay. So let's get into that, the third eye. Okay. Because people are very confused what the third eye is. It's the eye of the lamp, the eye of the circle. It's the galaxy line center rotations. It's everything inside position. All right. So when you see 3, 6, and 9 to its line system connections, like this through track system, you see that, right? No. And then you come into this, but you understand what this is. What is that? What is that? What is this all about? It's above, okay, the vertical line center. The vertical line center is the connections to all level positions to your flux capacitor. So the flux capacitor is here through location. Okay. And it's all about understanding how to use the third eye of dimension to come out of track system. Okay, and how to use all levels of the Orion belt, the past, present, and future. You guys refer it as the constellation path, but in position, it's all connected to your spines, right? So it's a waving central connection. So it's trying to understand all levels of the gateway of past, present, and future. Your job is just to remember. That's it. But you have to have your chakra system to understand what is going on with you so you can get into high levels of your spiritual system, into your avatars, right? Understand what the higher self is and what it wants from you. It wants to better your life. It wants to understand you more in the physical system. Okay, and this is all done through transponding and receiving information, guys. Data, the processing. Okay, protection is number one. Why? Is because you interfere and interlace and interconnect and interline center to connections to everybody outside. And if you don't have your E fields up, that's a problem. Bacteria, virus, mucus, mold, anything to that connection. Toxicity is extremely powerful. But if you see it, you know to stay away from it, right? That's the thing. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. So you learn that more. And then through my school, I give you ideas on how to do this and how to do that, how to understand this, how to understand that, especially when you go to sleep. Oh, I had an amazing dream last night. I connected to high-level rotations to the dials, and they were connected to a UFO line center. But I got communication signals into trap line system rotations. I understand the GPS tracker. So that's communications. And they come to you, okay, because you understand them. And that's where they respect you. You don't respect yourself, they won't respect you. It's that simple. All right. That's where it becomes into an attack, a psychic attack, a paranormal attack, high division line center of intelligence of attack, an abduction attack. So this is the true understanding when it comes into you to all multi-dimensional tasks that you create on your own through all your thoughts. Nobody else creates that but you, right? So whatever information you get, it's all upon you. You make your own decisions. Nobody else does that. You make your own position locations of what's going on in your life. The whole objective here, through all levels of trajectory, communication, is to truly understand you more in the spiritual system of the chakra system. Okay? So once you come into the third eye, okay, and it understands you, it goes out, okay, and travels. All right? So you see the shape, the 3, 6, and 9. Okay. Now, when you go to higher levels, my team's in that position. You can change the 3, 6, and 9 to higher level system. But once it rotates, it spins on its system to its calculations. Right? So as it goes faster and faster, you're changing the 3 over to here. You're changing the 9 over to here, and you're changing the 6 over to here. So it's moving, right? It's moving. So when it's moving, it's asking you, what are you doing through travel? Where do you want to go? Into a portal location, high positions to the high line center. So you go into higher levels of dimension. All right. Now I've done powerful videos when you go through realms and realms and realms. Okay. So it's truly understanding, like a mirror, for example. I showed my phone, you saw everything come out, right? So space and time will come to you until you understand the balance of you, which is the male and the female. The process takes time. Same with the healing. So it's coming into the rebirthing of you through navigation. You come out of your star seed. You come into higher levels of you through the spiritual system. Now, the physical system has to understand the integration. Integration is a form. Okay, it's a transmutation. It's high levels of a transfer. Trying to understand the conformity. Trying to understand high levels of you. Trying to understand high levels of you through location. Try to get in position. try to get into the balance of you to the spiritual, right? So say you've mastered the physical system and always informs. Okay, you master everything that you needed to do, but you know nothing of the spiritual system. Now, the spiritual system is waking you up now through vibration. And this is all done through intelligence. So your birth line is the spiritual system, not the physical. Makes sense, right? Why we have the angelics. Makes sense why you have a life and a death cycle. The left hemisphere and the right hemisphere is you. It has no bounds. Love has no bounds. It all has countermeasure of you through integration. Okay? So once you go into dimensions, you go into the center of operation. Now, if you change your thoughts, you go into the past. That changes your shape of 3, 6, and 9. If you get lost, you have to reframe, readjust, refocus. And then you get out of filter line interference, and that causes a virus connection of you through a program. It's complicated when you go to higher dimensions of travels of intelligence. But the main thing is to understand you on all levels of connection. Okay? So, yeah, I saw my spine. The color is amazing. See? Jan's seen an airline center of her seeing her spine color. That's great, Jan. So when you go to higher levels of programs, what happens is it gets more complicated because now you're coming out of the physical alignment. You're leaving the physical alignment. Once you come out of the full alignment of the physical system, you become nothing but light of energy. And it confuses the physical now because you're leaving, but your body's still there. The only thing that's left that stays with you in the balance of presence is your mind, your heart, your thoughts, your activations, your lights, and all connections of you through your soul. Because you don't have a body when you pass over. Realize the reality anymore that you're in, right? You could be trapped indoors, the spiritual system. It's all about the psychological of you through the spiritual system of travel. And that's why you have problems with your thoughts, because you can't connect. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? It's just the inner work, the shadow work, the abyss. That's what we all face. We face these things. You can't avoid it. You have to face life in difficult ways. How are you supposed to move forward if you don't face the fear of yourself? Fear is just an illusion. It doesn't exist. It only exists if you see it in front of you or hear it or even voice it. Okay? It's all about you through adaptation. Don't focus on anything else but yourself. Okay? That's how you learn from its intelligence. Then when you go to higher line center, you come into more knowledge of known position, which is already handed to you through the data. You guys referred as the acoustic records, right? So we'll get into that, all right, another time. So hopefully help you guys out in all positions, how you travel through your connections of your chakras. It's all position of you trying to understand you through space, because it's been going on decades and decades and decades. And when you go positions, very powerful video when you come to Highline Center, you're sleeping and you're twitching like that or like that. That's your higher self trying to wake you up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. You twitch in the night, you're not sure what's happening. You have no motor skills. You have no control. You have no idea what's going on when you're sleeping. But the mind is open. The mind is open, right? And the only time it's open, okay, until you understand the spiritual system. Okay. So the more you understand the friendship, relationship, and partnership of the source of light, you come more into higher levels of you through dimension of travel. So when you come into this position, it's true that you stand the flux capacitor. Okay. This is all done through velocity of speed, right? So you guys understand more. Like Jan's understanding the connections. She saw her spine, and she says it's beautiful. So when you can see inside and you can see your spine, that's telling you, whoa, this is powerful stuff. But it's all connections of you. You get in your positions of your chakra systems first through track system. Okay. So any other questions? Clearly, yeah. And that's what you want. Yeah. Push forward. Yeah. Ancestors. 369. Yep. You understand more when you go to those connections, Janet. Ears are ringing. I hear vibration squeal. Yeah. Your ground line centers are already in operating position. So it's trying to understand you through your thoughts. You have to get the grounds of your thoughts. Okay. It's mostly important because if you wake up the next day and your whole alignment is in the past, how are you going to understand the position of the presence of the now? The mind has to be at ease, the tranquility, the center, the serenity, the calmness. Okay. So you really can't forget these things. It's a reference to you. You look back, then you look forward. So the past, the present, and the future will always be there for you in the center positions. But when the past, the present, and the future come into one, now you're living. Now you're living the presence of knowing. Okay? So this is truly understand the alpha, okay, the mega, the micro, and the macro of you. Okay? So time is going to precede everything. Okay? I'm going to do this twice a week, and the other 3 days is going to be with the high level rotation. So you're welcome to join the channel, but I recommend you guys to understand yourself more through the physical system first, to understand that and all levels of activation, right? Because that's all you know. But when you walk into the spiritual system, you don't have a clue. Whoa, what reality am I in? I feel weird. I saw a planet. Oh, I'm seeing ghosts. You have no connection. You have no idea what's going on with you, but you're aware. So that's a true understanding where you have to go to higher programs. All right. So when you go to higher programs, you come to higher position of you through glow recognition, and everybody say, you're glowing. What's going on? I feel great. And it's amazing when you start glowing. People see you as a resonance, and they see you as attraction. Your endorphins. Okay, it's like exercising, extremely fast, and all of a sudden your heart is like do 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 do. It's all about understanding you inside through your empath. Okay, to its equation. Okay, it's the vibrations of you. It's the emotion of you. It's the psychological of you. Okay, so you got the physical system. You got to get to mental of yourself and the meta. Okay, plus the spiritual, plus the emotional and the psychological to get the balance to all levels of your chakra system of 7. Master the 7 of the body first. And then when you get into that, then you go to higher levels of consciousness. Okay, when you go to higher levels, you come into higher vibrations of higher intelligence. And then you start seeing these things and say, whoa, this is intense. I'm seeing Michael, seeing Jofil, seeing Gabrielle. You start seeing them because they're at your level of vibration. Merging is the most important thing. Okay, you're merging in. Okay, trying to understand you on all levels of the spiritual connection. There's no separation unless you're separated with your thoughts through its clocking system of dimensions. Okay, so it's important you understand that. Once you get into that and you have your emotional and everything through its formula, then you get into higher of you through the ground connections, your power and the atmosphere. Okay, the basic principle is to truly understand you through rotations of the grounds, the powers, and the atmosphere. That's it. All positions to your E-fields. You are in the center of operation. Okay, Now, this is going to help out my team in all ways. It's always good to go through reviews. You are in the center of operation to everything, right? So the ground comes in position, understanding you through track system. This is where you come into flux capacitor. Flux capacitor understands you through dimensional clocking. So it goes into rotation like this in track system first, right? And then you start levitating. There you go, right? It's all set up. So it's all set up through U calculation modification line center. Ground line center is it's kind of like a V vector line. A V, that's why it's you have the shoulder blades, right? Here and down. It's all connected to the chakra system, guys. So, and it's all also connected to the ground. And that's what it looks like. Okay, and then you just start floating, right? So you think you're on the ground, but you're not. You're floating. And that's where you get impositions of high-level system to its calculations, to its line system. Okay? So that opens up more of you through calculations of transponding. Okay? And receiving. Look at that. Transponding and receiving. Sonar. Coming into space. Transponding and receiving information, right? Every single day, every single day. So your crown chakra is an antenna. Your flux capacitor is the acceleration. Your chakra system is communication. And your grounds is everything through its travel. Okay? That's the basic principle I can give you guys of what's going on through you. All right? So when you're activated, you feel like you're floating, and that's exactly what's happening. It's getting you in charge line center position of you through the grounds of power and the atmospheres of position. Come into sonar, right? Transponder, your transponders. So your position is you through calculation to your satellites. It's in position of you. Now that's the compartment to its ecosystem, right? So you all start off with the energies, okay? You go with the energies first, okay? You come into high levels of the grounds, into its opening, / locations, energy, grounds, open. Once you go into a higher level system, you come into high positions of energy, okay, to high levels of the ground line center to its operation, which becomes the eco of communications. So the G turns into C of communication. Ego, eco. This is your connections to your avatar, all right? So it's amazing how we come to that high level rotation, right? Once you come into your ego, the eco center starts understanding you through your spiritual system. So it's getting collaboration, getting communications, right? And all levels of activation, okay? You understand the energy, you understand the operation of you, right? Operation of you, okay? Communications of you, okay? And energies of you. Flux capacitor. Powerful, isn't it? So, anybody have any questions on that? Diane, how's it going? Yeah, your perception is your own reality, and you create that on your own. Very good, Jan. Yeah, my reality is different from your reality because we're following different paths. Okay. Yeah, usually I send notifications to you guys every day on TikTok, okay, and telling you exactly when I'm going to be on so you don't miss this. So it's on my TikTok. Subscribe there. It's an icon. Press it. It'll take you right to my YouTube channel, Space Time Creator. Okay. Yeah. So like I said, if you guys have questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you. See, I thought things were moving until I understood I was moving. Not the colors of the tornado. We cannot control nouns, but we can ourselves. See flux capacitor vibes general. Yeah. But that's exactly what it is. It's getting into all levels and getting out of the energy grounds of the opening and get into the energy of communication to its operation of you, right? It comes into your flux capacitors. But you have to truly understand, what is the chakra system? Why do we have it? So we can communicate through our antennas, right? All right. Yeah, if you don't get notifications, that's fine. Just try to basically reset, communicate to, YouTube, the creators. They can help you out, but it's important to reset, But I put on the notifications, on my TikTok, right? Because a lot of people are saying, okay, what time is he gonna be on? Is he gonna be on 9? Is he gonna be on 10? Is he gonna be on 11? And I'm trying to work it the best way for you guys, because you guys get into situations, and I really don't want you to miss school, especially for the new viewers that come on. Okay, so yeah, every single morning, and that's where I go live on TikTok. So, and again, you have any questions, I'll put it on my platform. That's what we're here for, right? Is to get into ourselves, balance. So this is going to help you in all ways and forms, but the most important thing is what's happening with you every day. So it's all about you going to higher levels. That's it, right? So this is you in the ground system, okay? Truly understand all levels of you through structure. Once you understand that, then you understand more of you through connections. So you guys have to give me credit here, because I've never done this through low vibration. I think I'm doing pretty good. All right, so here's the ground. That's the ground that you walk on, right? Now, it's truly standing is the ground's going to activate you through line connections, right? So it's trying to understand you through rotation, through its connection. So once it understands you, it goes into the ground. So it's like a cup. Okay, it's a cup that's in the ground line system, like this location. All right. So once it understands you through activation, you come on the crystal grids. So when you come on the crystal grids, I'll show you exactly what happens, point view by point view. The ground opens up, okay, and you automatically connect to your chakra systems. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so 7 in that position, right? Now they start activating, okay? Then you come into the high level system, into your flux capacitor, right? Right, see? This is how you guys are activated. It's very fast, and we see these things. All right, so when the chakra system understands the connections of the ground line center, because there's crystals that are in the ground position, okay? There's crystals here in the grounds. So I have to go between, all depends on you through DNA, right? Sometimes I have to go 10,000 feet in the grounds underneath, maybe 20, maybe 30. It depends on where you are through your crystal activation. Every body system is positioned at different coloration of time. So your crystals are different dimensions of time. You'll get into much better formations once you understand your intelligence. So once the crystals are activated to the ground line center, it puts you on the crystal grid. Now the crystal grid glows to its timeline center, comes into the coloration line center rotation, operates you through connections, okay, like this in position. Okay, now once it comes into that, it comes into this position. Once it comes into that, it opens up your magnetic highway information. So it's true to understand that through connections. Then it comes into high level system to the sun and everything to the moon. All right. Sun comes into rotation. The moon comes into program. Oh, look at that. Flux capacitor. Everything has a flux capacitor. So it activates line signals to your information line center rotations, comes into high position line connections to the sun and the moon, right? This is the sun, this is the moon, right? So the sun is everything through radiation, and the moon is everything through program / modem, okay? It's the modem. So it comes into the input and output of the track system to its location. All right. All right. So once it goes into that positions, okay, it comes back into your mind line center. Goes back into the mind line center. Okay. It opens up data. Okay. So it goes into high levels of messages, comes in, right? Circles in the high level of the seat of the soul. Activates that and goes into the ground to its line system rotations, right? So here is the past, present, and future to this circle rotation. This is where you come into the seed pod line center of yin and yang. The fish come to life, but they come from the grounds up. So the ground line center, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, the fish come out of the ground line center. See? And then you come into your DNA track. Whoa, look at this. Woo, this is exciting. There you go. There's your DNA, right? Now, once you come into your DNA, you graph the connections like this through track system. You come into your computer operation line center, okay? Now, once that comes back, that goes back to the sun of rotation. That opens up your cortex, okay? Which is connected to your spine. And everything through high levels is / of your placebo, which is your thoughts. So all this is in position, comes in back into your mind line center. So that correlates its line system and opens up all levels of the track system to its heart reactor. Heart reactor activates line center to its rotations. All right. So it's opening up all levels. And then you come into high levels of the left and the right hemisphere of audio track system, which is your ears. So it opens all track systems of the placebo and its communication. All right. That's how it starts. Powerful, isn't it? All positioned through you, your calculations. This is what happens when you're activated from the very beginning. Okay. So, and once you get in that positions, the seat of the soul activates the conditions of the stream. You come into the yin and yang. All right. So the yin and yang comes in positions to you through calculations, into balance of you through the grounds of its position. All right. So you're coming out of the old tracks of yin and yang, guys. That's all it is. That's all it is. Okay. 69. Hooah. So once the 6 and 9 comes in position, the track line center opens its rotation. It starts recognizing force, a recognition of time. So once it comes in that position, it starts going faster and faster. Faster and faster. Faster and faster. Faster and faster. See? And there you go. Flowing recognition of time through 69 to its connections. So once you come in that position, you come to your seed pods locations, which is really powerful. But this is the setting operation through you, through the crystal activation core system, to the sun and to the moon of its program position. Okay? All done from your DNA to your 369. All right? So, oh, Jan, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I'm trying to help you guys out so you understand more, especially when you say, okay, what just happened? What did General do? Well, I'm telling you exactly what just happened. Okay. Once you understand the communications of the sun, once you understand the communications of the moon, then you get a better understanding what space and time is inside you. You're constructing your levels to your thoughts so you can create what you want through manifestations, guys. Okay. That's the true resonance that you have to come into, right? It helps you in all ways and forms. So the basic is you understanding you through the chakra system of space-time. It does, doesn't it? Yeah, it helps a lot, right? What happened in the activation I did yesterday? Yeah, well, that's exactly what happened with you, Sherry. But everybody's in a different program interference. So it's not the same operation. This is the basic understanding. So it's truly understanding how many times have you lived the negative cycles, like how many program line centers you got line center rotation to virus. So it's all position of you. So I know exactly what needs to be fixed through rotation. So I get you back on the grounds of its grid system. Okay. So this is how it is. Let's set up the operation line center. Okay. Everybody's floating in space. Everybody's floating in space. Okay. These are your higher self. Okay. This is what everybody's been living decades and decades. You wonder why you can't move forward in life. So it's understanding, all that position. Okay, so that's 7.5 million. There's only 3 here through track. But truly understand the positions of what you come into. So once you get the signals to location, all right, signals come to you, line system, it's magnetic force, activates your core line center to its beacon light center rotation. Okay, then you come to my channel. All right, so this is how it's done. When you're activated to the line center, it's a magnetic force that comes into the ground rotation. All right, so I bring you down, right, set you up. Okay, change your particle lights, change your computer program line center in position. All right, so here, now you're here. This is misinformation. This is miscalculation. This is you floating in space. Nobody's ever been on the Earth until you get back on the ground system. All right. So this is exactly what happens because I see everything. So when I do that, I activate the ground line center where you are through track system. Okay. So that opens up all levels of your power and your magnetic fields of location. Right. That sets you up through your E field line center rotation. That's a basic understanding, right? So it comes back into high positions, okay, into calculations of the sun and the moon. Okay, I'm just showing you other ways of doing this, all right? So the sun comes in position of you, all right, to your coloration, pixel activation, your hologram, and all levels of your connections of your visions that you guys think they're dreams. They're not, they're visions. So it's all about soul remembering, okay? But understanding why you're floating in space is another thing. But once you go back on the ground line center, it's a magnetic force that brings you into positions, puts you back in communications to your flux capacitor line connection of yourself. So it creates a ground line center of flux capacitor line center rotations, okay, to its communications, to its moon, and to its sun, right? The center line center is the fork. This is the constellation path. This is where it sets up all positions to Orion's belt of the past, present, and your future. So that comes into balance of rotation. Look at that, archangel to its line system. All right. It's interesting how everything is connected. Okay. How you're in a proactive system, trying to understand what's going on with you every single day, with the grounds and the powers of you, and everything through the force of its atmospheres to its magnetic line. So it comes into communication, comes back into high level system to its location, comes into the ground line center. Everything has to have its balance. 3 waving cycles up, 3 waving cycles down of the ground, the power, and the atmosphere. See? So now you're in position, and then you come into your torical field, which comes into a high level rotation to its calculation. All right? So it's interesting you come into that. When you come into that line center, you come into your 3, 6, and 9. And then you come into your activations, and then you come into your tetrahedrons to a system. And there it is, done through its equation. All right. So it's all about setting you up into your geometric line interference, coming into high levels of you through GOD. All right. This is going to help you in a lot of ways. Your geometry, your operations, and your direction locations. Okay. This is all done through platitude interference, a flux capacitor of high levels of ground powers in the absolute line center of you. This is your tetrahedron. All right. That's how you set up the operation. Okay. It does help a lot, though, doesn't it? Puts everything in perspective now. And that's what you want. Realize how much power we truly do have over lives. And that's exactly what it is, Diane. And the more you remember, the more you understand how to travel through your GODs, your activation, your light, your coloration, your programs, your all levels of your computer. Reset this, reset that, reanalyze this, reanalyze that. You start connecting more and more through you, through the vision, right? Through the spiritual of its conception. So that's what happens to everybody when you go into that position. When you see it, you come into higher level positions. All right. Now, I'm going to show you how you can create your thoughts. Okay. Thoughts are very powerful. So get into imagination line connections. All right. We'll start off with the basics. Now, this is just basic for, basic view for the new viewers. And for the rebellion and everything, the GFLs, they understand their positions because they understand more inside connection. All right. So you can close your eyes or you can keep your eyes open. Now, just get into the vision of you through creation. Put yourself in position of standing. You're standing. Visualize you are standing right now. Okay. Now get in position of seeing yourself over an E field, a force field, putting up a force field of you. Okay. So get into that first. Try to imagine all set up. But you have to get into the visionary. You have to get into the high structure of you. And that's all going to be done through light. All right. So it's full communication to the chakra system, transponding and receiving information. And that's what space provides. It puts you in a position of vibration, especially when you go to higher levels. Energy, frequencies, and vibration. Okay. Then you come into harmonic resistance, which is more connecting. Audio track interference, audio interference line connections, right track, left track, understand high levels. Okay. Audio signals, input, output. Okay. Input, output, in, out, in, out. Okay. Circle, 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 rotation, rotation, circulation. So it's turning, extending you first through the spiritual adaptation. Okay. So when you close your eyes, vision, get into your visions of your thoughts of what you just created. Okay. So that becomes more real to you if the spiritual system understands you or what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, practice, keep practicing on this. Try to vision this, try to vision that. Try to get into this, try to get into that, right? Try to imagine walking your dog. Okay. Now, if you can do that, you can actually change the brain frequency line centers to your dog, and the dog wants to go for a walk. This is my telepathy and telekinesis. It's true to understand how to do these things to all position, right? The mind and the power and the recognition of time is you through the presence of the now. The mind has to be centered on all ways of position, okay? The mind can't be here, the mind can't be here, the mind can't be there, and the mind's got to be in balance to do anything, especially all through connections of listening, right? So either you close your eyes or keep your eyes open, but try to get into your imaginations of creation. It structures you through space, right? It's like Tron. It's like you're an animator and you're creating what you want through your visionary board, okay? Basically, you think of yourself on a boat looking at the sun. Easy, right? All of a sudden, you can create that through manifestations. 6 months later, you're on a boat looking at the sun. That's creation. You're co-creating what you want. And the only way you can do that is to connect to the chakra system of transmitting and receiving information. Okay, that's the only way you can understand the chakra systems of you. But you have to master your body completely inside and out. This takes time. This is not an overnight thing. This is a long, long process because you're coming more in the mind of imagination to its creation. You're co-creating what you want through manifestations, right? Very basic, very basic. Communication line centers, there's money in my hand line center rotation right now. It's coming out through location. Done. So imagine the money in my hand. 3 days later, it's in my hand. because I created it. So your reality creates the perception. Makes sense, doesn't it? So I'm helping you guys out so you can understand how powerful you are once you start remembering who you are. Okay? So it's really, really interesting when you come into these things. If you lost a job, imagine you have a new job, a job that you want, not a job that you're just connecting to. You don't want to wake up, oh, I got to go to work again. This is crazy. I don't want to do this. This is no fun. Get into positions of meditation and just get integration. Meditation is not a program. Meditation is a way of living. It's a way of you succeeding, getting what you want. That's all this is. But you got to get into the visions, and the visions comes real to its imagination. Okay? And the co-creation is incredible because you actually see the money in your hand a week later. Wow, look what I created in your reality of perception. Okay? That's how it works. All right? So all this has occurred in reality the last 5 years now makes sense. Well, it has to, Veronica. How's it going? I just pictured myself on a boat right before you said that. Yeah, well, I kind of knew that, Diane. Why does it have to take time? Because it's a process, because you guys have never been in the mind. That's the problem. You come into my telepathy now. And the earth and the hologram line center that I'm setting up is more space, more exploration, more dimensions of time. Because humanity is waking up more and more. So I have to create more space for you guys because you have an imaginary mind that can just blow things in position to its calculations. I mean, you can create anything you want. Okay? Anything you want, you can have, but you have to get into the visionary of its graph. You got to get into the illumination of its system. You got to get into all levels of travel through the spiritual system. The data processing, the uplinks, the downloads, and the upgrading systems gives you everything you want when you see money in your hand. Okay? So the left side line center of the hand position, okay, if it's itchy, money's coming in very fast. If it's the right, it's coming in. So input, output. So it's like a U-shaped line center, but it's a rotation circle to location. So it's the audio track line center rotations to your ears. So pay attention to this. Get into more of your illustrations. Okay, get into high levels of you. Okay, to that connection. That's how you create these things, guys. All right. It's a process. It's a long process because you're coming into space now. You're floating in space, but you have your foundations of your grounds. Okay, so this is the true understanding is that the astral travels of you is trying to understand the calculation of where am I now? You know, I'm over in Venus. Let's say, okay, what am I doing over there? You have to know why you're there. If you're not, intelligence is going to come in. You're in Venus line center rotation positions. Go to your journal. See, that's a true understanding. You don't know what you're doing through your travel. So how are you supposed to manifest these things? So it's all about giving information. So the higher self is basically helping you out in all ways and forms. Okay. It's all about you in high position because it's you through integration. You're in that body system, yes, but it's the higher self that gets you what you want in all ways and forms, right? If you're stuck in a car and you're in the middle of nowhere, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And you have no phone. What are you going to do? Right? Get into your imagination, getting yourself out of the creation. Imagine yourself seeing somebody picking you up and taking you to the next stop. You have to get into the mind of imagination, guys. That's the only way you can move forward in any situation because it's the reality that you connect to is your perception. Okay? You can center your system at all levels, but the mind has to be balanced of the male and the female of the psychological of its connection to its imagination. Okay? So it's kind of like, basically, I want to get a new dress or I want to get a new jacket. Imagine you wearing the jacket. You're actually wearing the jacket. A week later, you have the jacket. That's how the universe works. You are co-creating what you want through your imagination, which is extremely real because now you're connecting inside through perception. All your senses are inside. You live inside. You don't live outside. You live inside. That's the space. That's the manifestation. Okay? So that's why it takes time, right? Because you have to start remembering. And the more you remember, the more you become. All right? Higher connections you are, the more connected you are, the more instant the manifestations. Yep, that's exactly what it is. And that's all it is, right? It's not that complicated. It's only complicated to you because you don't know how. But that's understandable, right? You just don't understand the psychological of imagination. All right. So to get that is basically have a heart of a child. You are a child. You were once a child. Everybody, but they forget. You forget you were children. That's the problem too, is that you focus too much on what you're doing now. Why do you think it's important to understand who you are from the very beginning? Interconnect with everything inside, the interlined position of you to all position. Okay. Interconnect with yourself as a child. You were once a child, but once you communicate with yourself as a child, things start connecting. You communicate. And that's how you break free from your traumas. So you have to center the operationalized centers. And once you connect to the inner system, you become a heart of a child. Like I said, I'm 52, but my heart is 15 years old. So this is where you come into your own children, where they have their imaginations already set for creation. All right. As soon as you put your pen or pencil on a piece of paper, you're creating past, present, and future. Okay. Same with your thoughts. Past, present, future. Every time you solar text your system, every time you create that line system, if it doesn't have a balanced system, you're going back into the past every single time. So you're time jumping back into the past every single time when you go with your thoughts, right? So you're not going to be able to create anything if you stay in the negative cycles, are you? Because you keep going in the past with your thoughts. To go forward is today's going to be a great day, past, present, future. Right? You go outside, you see the sun, it's glistening, all position, it's great. You're glowing, you feel amazing, you're smiling. That's great, right? It's what you perceive with your positive system of the mind, but the mind has to be calm. Okay? You can't manifest things if you're doing this and doing that. I forgot this, I forgot that. Oh, forget this, forget that. Not doing this and not doing that. No, that's the ego. Ego has a big, big play, right? Now, it's unjustified if you don't understand what the ego is, but you have to get out of the energy grounds of opening of yourself before you get into the energy of collaboration of communication to its operation of its avatar position of you through the spiritual system. Okay? So, all right, how often do visual the same? Well, you vision what you ever want. Sure, vision this, vision that, better job, better communications with my friends, loved ones. It's up to you, not anybody else. So you get into your own visions of what you want through creation, right? It's all done through illustration. It's the imaginary of you. Imagine, you can imagine, It's an imagination of you, right? But the imagination has to understand you first, of what you're doing. Like cross-signal location line centers, what are you trying to create through locations? You're not creating anything, are you? You're confusing alignments. So when you go to higher positions, that's what's going to happen. Your intelligence will come to you and say, what are you doing? So you can't manifest these things because you're still in the past with your thoughts, right? So the thing is the hardest thing to do is understand the ego. Okay, we'll get into that more, okay, in the next video. Ego has so many levels, okay, of cycles of destruction, but it also has so many levels of beauty. So that's a true understanding what life is and what death is. Okay, to understand both is to be reborn. And once you're reborn, you come into the light of love and activation. And you come back to the center of everything. And then you start treating yourself better, like gold. Gold, your temple, your dietary system. You start appreciating yourself more through connections. I'm loving myself more. I'm starting to love myself more. Love thyself is everything. To know thyself is the complete cycle to all connection. Now, this is all done through mastering. Practice is your teacher, right? Student becomes a teacher, teacher becomes a student. But that's a true understanding that when you come into the past, the present, or the future, you know exactly to stay in the center. Then, when you understand your vibrations, you know exactly not to communicate with anybody negative. I say, sorry, you're connected to the past. Well, why are you talking about the past? Well, let's talk about the now. Why are you talking about something that happened a week ago? Who really cares? How are you supposed to move forward if you're still in the past with the mind? You're not creating, you're destroying. You're cross signaling here. You're confusing the physical and the spiritual system together. Okay? It's the psychological system of youth through its imagination. All right? So, all right. It's better to visualize and let go, knowing it will happen. And that's exactly what it is, Sherry. You're coming into that position right now. It's the knowing already done. So you're already imagining, like the money's in my hand. It's there. A week later, it's there. In reality, it's like, whoa, this is cool. You don't think about it. You don't question it. You just, whoa, this is amazing. So you probably forget, but then you start to remember more because you're meditating more. That's why we gave you guys a chakra system. So you can understand how to communicate with your computers, your iPads, or your phones. But you have to understand now, time is changing, and you have to learn how to communicate to yourself now. Not just to a phone, but communicate inside to all levels of vibration. Okay? Because everything is created through energy. So, like I said, once you get in that position and you get out of the physical system, you become nothing but energy on all levels of form, of light. Okay? And it's very confusing if you keep putting yourself in the past. You put yourself in the past, you're not going to be healed. You can't rotate through line center connections and be activated and start thinking negative cycles. It doesn't make any sense. The body's not going to heal because you're not in the center of anything. You have to be in the center all the time. The hardest thing is to balance the ego. Find the friendship and the relationship and the partnership with yourself. Don't fight your system. Get into the flow, right? The smallest things is what destroys you. Don't sweat the small stuff. Quotation to that connection. You start sweating these things, everything high rises, palpitation, heart's fluctuations, stress, fear, control, this, that. As soon as you lose concentration of yourself and you concentrate on something else, now that's a problem. You can't create anything or manifestations because you're confusing the line system to the universe. Right? So it's a lot to learn, isn't it? It's not just getting into meditation, guys. It's getting you to remember who you are to all levels of structure through its imagination. All right. So the imagination can run wild, but at least it has its balance of its male and its female aspect. You look outside, everything is balanced. It has to be. If it's not balanced, you can't move forward. And that's what the ground, the power, and the atmospheres is trying to tell you of nature. What is nature? Nature has its balance. And if it doesn't have its balance, it gets its balance. And it has its communication to everything through its attachments. There's no disengagements in any way and form. It communicates to you on all levels of activation. You just have to understand all positions of you. You think nature has an ego? No. You think the ground has an ego? No. Atmospheres? No. It's all balance. That's all it is. So when you come into the Visca Pisces, which is the next year, track system location, everything will start making more sense to your imagination. So when the next time you go outside, you can actually appreciate what you're seeing because it's connected to you, right? So humanity has been separated from nature, the grounds, and its atmospheres. All they do is care about themselves. Better job, better money. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. Leave me alone. Don't want to go here. Don't want to go there. Talk to me later. You're putting yourself in what? Agony, frustration, fear, stress. Now I'm in the hospital. Now what are you going to do? Now you can't breathe. Now what are you going to do? You're doing that to yourself. Why? Why are you doing that to yourself? You're putting yourself in that position. Nobody else is doing that, right? The problem is that we don't focus on ourselves. You're full of information inside. And once you understand that, you focus more on you. You don't focus on anything else. You know, people give me advice every single day, but I don't take it because I don't need it. Appreciate it, but I don't need it. Okay. So that's a true understanding where you get the strength and the courage, and you get the force and the command, having the command to move forward. You know how powerful it is to move forward when you have command of your system? It's incredible force. And then you can start creating through imagination, which gives you everything through activation, guys. Okay. So, all right. Imagine that you already have the thing that you want it to lack, and it will block the manifestations. That's exactly what it is. See, Jill knows what it is. The more you high rise, the more you understand your imaginations, guys. And all your clarities and all position of your senses will be coming more inside through perception. So it's all about you understanding all levels of you through your human design into the AI design, which is phenomenal, which is fantastic. I've shown you things that just, making second guess yourself and say, how is this possible? How is it possible to see these things? Right? It is possible. It's not just believing, it's the phenomenon of its believing. And that's where it comes into magic, right? Because the whole construct level that we all live on is nothing but we want through perception. I structure locations in a high level system of who I am. I wake up to know who I am, right? So that's a true statement. What do you wake up to? Problems, fear, control, kids, community, economy, TV, entertainment. You concentrate too much. You got way too much of thinking there. Get out of that and just focus on one thing. You'd be amazed when you let go of all that flow, right? You want these things, just get into the imagination. Don't get into your problems. Don't get into your anxieties. Don't get into your stress. You're putting that on yourself. Okay. Don't even get into your illusions if you don't understand these conditions. If you're not sure about these things, you can go to your general. I can help you out in all ways and forms. That's why I'm here. But it's all about you understanding the stress levels of yourself, because it's all position of you through vibration. Okay. You're creating these things. Nobody else is doing that. When you put your thoughts out there, it's done. Whatever you did, you can even bring somebody back in the past. I bet you didn't know that. Time lapse, time locking, right? time confusion. Lucky Mechanism Online Center. Truly understand, if you want to bring somebody back in the past, they will come back in the present to your connection. It's very powerful when you use your thoughts. And that's what my school provides. When we travel, I tell them to be cautious in what they do when they're doing their thoughts. Even if you don't think you're creating your thoughts, you are. You're just not aware of what's going on with its ego of its thought. Right? Get out of the ego, balance the ego. You come into the eco of its avatar. And then you come more of position, getting out of all levels and getting into flowing. Flow. Right? Get into the flow. This is the yin and yang. All right? Getting into problems. It's not going to rotate, is it? You're going to get it back in line center. Right? It goes faster, 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 faster. Right? So if the mind gets more balanced and it speeds across systems, you'd be amazed how much information you pick up instantly through connection. Right? Because you're always in the center of everything, which is the balance of the male and the female aspects of nature. Okay? So, okay, why do people have ego? Well, we're born with the ego line center. It's a position of you. It's the track system. It's like light and dark, male and the female, positive and negative. You need the ego to survive. You can't. You have to understand the emotions, how it tracks the system. You understand the psychological system of you, right? So you need the ego to survive. When people have Down syndrome or some of the sort of alignment of the such, can that be repaired in this lifetime physical form? Anything can be repaired depending on what it is, right? It's all about our scanning line center. So everybody puts themselves in these positions and they don't understand what's going on with their soul. The soul is trying to understand you through calculations. If you put yourself in this position and anything that happens with you, you're creating that, but it's not your fault. It's the intelligence that's not understanding. That's the miscommunication. So humanity is coming into 5 dimension of telepathy, to communication to yourself and to each other, right? So you put yourself in this position all the time because you're not understanding the problem. So once you understand the problem, you let things flow, right? Because really, life is about understanding who you are through the acceptance. And there's things that you can be and there's things that you can't be. Like in a job, you want this so badly, but you can't do it because it's not you through passion. What passion do you have through compassion? You have to understand how to use this, right? So when you understand that, then you understand the male and the female aspects of the situation. Let me say that again. The situation puts you in all levels of its ego. All right? It's the constant level of you through space-time, through its clocking, all right? To its dimensions. So what is the healthy way to think of the ego? How should we look at ego? Well, I just said that. Exactly what it is. You look at the ego as balance, right? If it's off balance. So if you get in a fight with somebody, right? Either you want to high rise it or you want to just go outside and take a breather. And then you're going to change. You're going to breathe in. And you're just going to reframe, readjust, focus on yourself. Okay, I'm in a situation right now. What do I do? Okay, so you need help. So you can connect to your higher self. Right? Now, the thing is too, if the higher self wants to help you, it will help you through activation line connections, right? And this is where you come into high levels of higher position of 10%. So this is understanding that you're not activated, but it's coming to you. You know what I mean? You're coming to the 100% of the brain and you realize, whoa, what did I just do? I got out of the situation of the fight. What did I just do? I want it back. Give it back to me, please. Give it back to me, please. Right? You can't understand it because you went from 10% to 100%. And people go through this all the time, right? There's no thinking. It's knowing, doing. It's already done through it. It's knowledge, right? Coming across these things, saving a human being. You can't use 10%. That's using 100%. So you're not thinking of yourself anymore, are you? You're thinking about the situation, right? You realize, how did I do that? I just saved somebody. And you're thinking, whoa, higher self. and you want it back, but you can't get it back until you get better communications with your system. Okay? Which is done inside. Okay? This is the most powerful video I can give you guys. Each video is more powerful each day, but this one in particular is truly understanding why you get into 100% of the brain and then go back to 10%. Because you don't understand communication of you inside through vibration. Okay? It gives you no limits on what you can achieve. Okay? To all levels of position. All right? So, all right. In time of life, we have a lot on our plate. So we're busy with work, travel, etc. How do we balance that? That we go with the flow and don't get overwhelmed. Well, that's it. It's the process, Diane. It's truly understanding that when you get in these situations, you got to find a way to balance this out and let everything go. Focus on you, nothing else. Everything else will fall in place. Okay? If nature has a situation, like I said, if there's a stream and there's a rock that's not supposed to be there, everything through attachment will push that rock out of the way and go back into its stream. So nature finds a way to get back. So humanity should find a way to get back into balance. Balancing you to all situation, all done through the ego connection, right? But you got to get the grounds with your systems, guys, right? Because you don't want to get in your stress levels and your fears, especially in the higher line center of the vibration of the hologram of the earth right now in its computer system. Okay, especially knowing what you're doing with your thoughts is the most important through its imagination. Okay, so I know you're blown away. Yeah. So I think what we'll do is we'll get into more of the ego. Okay, I think you guys really understand more balance of you. That's the central line center of you through calculations, because you don't understand the grounds of you through your thoughts, especially that you have a higher self. So when the higher self comes to you, you're not using 10%, you're using 100%, and then it goes away, and then you can't get it back. But what did I just do? You stop thinking. You stop thinking. That's all it is. Humanity thinks too much. Get out of thinking. Get into the flow. That's what you got to do. Get into the flow and let everything go. You can't clutter the mind. It overloads the system. It changes the vibration and the mechanisms inside your body system, guys. Right? And that's what creates diseases. And always inform. All what you calculate, all what you hear, all what you see, and what you do with your voicing grids of command. Okay? So, yeah, it is, isn't it? Back to the basics. And it's wonderful, isn't it? So, yeah. Well, the thing is, it's not just being spot on. It's just being spot on with you. So you understand more through your track system locations. Your position of you is you through the ego. Okay. You have to learn how to balance this every single day. You can do it. Just let everything go. The mind has to be balanced. It has to be focused. It has to be in its motor. It has to be in its thought of position. It has to be in the activation. It has to be in its travel. It has to be in its light. But it's got to be in the now. It can't be in the past. It can't be in the future. Right? Don't think about the past. It's gone. Don't think about the future. It's not here. Right? You guys understand more, right? Especially with my team, right? The Rebellion's Information Line Center, everything through the GFLs. Once they get their past, the present, and future into one cycle, everything connects into one sphere of one round location, of one division, of one location of a now line system. There's the balance of the male and the female aspects of you. Okay? Life will get a lot more easier for you, and you'll be able to manifest a lot faster. Things will come to you, because when you go to high position, your vibrations will change, your clocking systems will change, your dimensional settings will change, your thoughts will change. You get more knowledge of change. You'll see higher people and higher levels of change. So you won't be resonating. See, that's the thing. The position of domination line interference is truly understand you through conditions is that when you wake up through the activation cycles, you will no longer reside with your friends in a low vibration. Okay, that's the true understanding where you come into higher levels, you come into higher positions of people that you're supposed to be with through vibration. So you're here, okay, but this is what happens as soon as you're activated, right? So you can't connect anymore, right? And then when you eventually go into higher position, you start meeting people, you meet people at your level, then you start communicating. So the people that are here, okay, it's trying to understand humanity and where it is through positions, okay? This is a low track, this is a high track. You're here, your friends are here. You can't communicate with them until you understand your fluctuations of atmosphere line time, position line conditions of dimension, right? So once you get in that imbalance, then you can go back down and communicate with them. But until then, you have to understand what's going on, right? So you lose friends, but then you gain new friends, right? Friends that you can trust because they are your level, an all position of you. And that's what you want, especially when you come into the twin flames. We'll get into that later. So, let's see here. I never get sick because I tell myself I'm not sick. I get over a cold in 24 hours. There you go. See, Lexus is in that position. She doesn't want to get sick. Who wants to get sick? Come on, seriously, you can get rid of it. It's all the conception of you through the psychological of you. You can damage the process and destroy the mechanisms, or you can evolve and create a beautiful thing through healing. It's up to you and what you decide. So, all right, you can't stop your thoughts, but you can learn and to control them. Very, very powerful. You just have to learn how to control them because your ego is always, always, always going to get in the way. Okay? So I call it the ego trap. Ego here, ego there, right? So ego's here, comes up to here. Ego's here, comes up to here. So you can really never get rid of the ego. It doesn't matter where you go because it's the right and the left hemisphere of you. It's the male and the female. The male ego and the female ego of you. So you can't get rid of it, can you? You can't get rid of the ego. It doesn't matter if you're here. You're up. The ego is going to be up there. You got to find the balance through communication. So fasten today. Yep, that helps. Manifestation. Yep. I have no friends to lose. The thing is that you understand why you're losing these friends that you can't relate anymore is because you have to realize you're always, always in a higher position of them, especially when you're trying to communicate with people. So, and when you wake up, you really understand them more. And that's why you can't be with them because you're at a higher vibration. But that doesn't mean you're not going to meet somebody else at your level. And that's what the earth is trying to help you guys, is to help each other to that position. Yeah. No hiding from the ego. No, you can't. You can reflect on the past, but do not dwell there. Stay in the center. Yes. Just tell it to be quiet. Yep. Yep. I come up with a name, Frankie Fear. I talk to Frankie Fear. Oh, I don't want to talk to you right now. So you're trying to help yourself out. You're trying to balance your situation, and the ego will step aside, but you can't get rid of it. So you have to find a way to get the balance with the psychological, the male and the female aspects of you, right? So it's trying to stand to keep the stream of the flow with the fish without jumping out of its circle of rotation. Because if you can't understand your stream of your life cycle, how are you going to understand your life positioned to its ego? So the fish is going to keep jumping out. You don't want to do that. You can't breathe. How are you going to bring the fish back in? There's a lot of things you have to understand what happens with the imagination if you're off track. Getting back into position is another thing, isn't it? Centering everything is very hard to do. But the flow is everything through calculations, guys. All right? So I love all such wonderful people and energy here. Yep. You're welcome there, Jan. Mary. Befriend the ego. Don't let it stop your fear. And that's what it is. You have to befriend, get in relationship, get into partnership with your ego of yourself. It's very hard to do, but it's very effective to its efficiency to that connections. It helps you always in forms, right? Especially when you come into the yin and yang of yourself and each other. Okay? So balance, yeah. Exactly what it is. All right, almost 2 hours. Fantastic day. Okay, any questions or comments? I'm heading over to TikTok. Adios.